spinning, kick the leg over the head, point that toe, roll him right over. Look how he does it right up there. He comes in on his buttocks. You want to finish on your buttocks, and his crotch is right under his opponent's shoulder. So he can have a great lever on that elbow right across his pubic bone. That's the fulcrum right there.
He's not sticking this up for me, okay? I've kept his elbow pretty much welded to my chest, and I've kept my legs in nice and tight and squeezed his head. That's what shot his arm up like that. The more straight my legs are, the more space he's got, and the less it's shooting straight up.
See, we want to give him no space to escape when we finish that. So he wants to finish his leg press right on him, just like Derek's doing, so he can, and see how. And this is how we do a spinning Juji Gatame from the bottom. I think it's one of the 4 basic applications. So you want to coach it real quick, and you don't make it real fast. You'll make it fast.
Okay. So I'm gonna use a hug grip, which is like forearm to forearm, and you can grab the inside of the sleeve if you need extra, grip for it. Normally, I block with my knee in the back of his tricep and his elbow. So the fold keeps him from pulling up, and the knee keeps him from yanking his elbow back. Now, with all grips, he can eventually get it out, but the idea is that he keeps it in place long enough for me to slide through, okay? So kick him in the back of his armpit as you shrimp sideways and underhook deep. If you can wave at yourself, you're deep enough, okay? The other foot comes around and clamps down on the head.
That's important, guys, because he's trapping his head and upper body, okay? All right.
Okay? As I lift this hand up, I'm going to place this foot on the mat, okay? So don't hip up immediately trying to flip them over. Just stomp your foot down and lift your hand up. That gets you up nice and easy into what we call the leg press position, which is basically, some people call it the spider web position. Some people call it the juji position. You're sitting on your butt, you're trapping his shoulders, and you've got his arm pretty much sticking straight up because my hips are blocking that shoulder and the tricep. Okay, I already had the hug grip, so my other arm comes either up high or I prefer right around there. I hug and I slide back, and you'll notice that my hands can slide all the way up to where his wrist is, and he's going to tap before I even hit the deck. Okay, and that's because my heels are in, my knees are together, okay, and I'm sliding back through for it. Okay, come back up again. Okay.
Now that's, again, I think one of the 4 basic applications of Juji Gatame, which we really like that arm on. Now we're going to finish, that's going to be the finished product in a moment here. We're going to start standing, but let's get good at this, okay? And again, look at it, don't get hung up, can you do that again? Don't get hung up on pulling his arm across and stuff. Nobody in his right mind who knows how to fight is going to let you pull his arm across him. You got to sneak it in there like Derek did. See that? Trap and sneak. You got to be clever, okay? And assume he knows as much as you do, it's as good as you are. So don't think he's going to fall for that stuff. So hook him, and see how he's trapping? Now he's immediately going to take the spin under, that's what we call spinning, kick the leg over the head, point that toe, roll him right over. Look how he does it right up there. He comes in on his buttocks. You want to finish on your buttocks, and his crotch is right under his opponent's shoulder. So he can have a great lever on that elbow right across his pubic bone. That's the fulcrum right there.
He's not sticking this up for me, okay? I've kept his elbow pretty much welded to my chest, and I've kept my legs in nice and tight and squeezed his head. That's what shot his arm up like that. The more straight my legs are, the more space he's got, and the less it's shooting straight up.
See, we want to give him no space to escape when we finish that. So he wants to finish his leg press right on him, just like Derek's doing, so he can, and see how he trapped and brought it back and run it right out. We call it a lever, not necessarily pry, because you're levering it out. It's just like it's a long lever. So rather than calling it a prying or jacking or cranking, it's just a good, good phrase. All right, let's practice that. And
so let's work on manipulating the head. So the reason I'm trying to squish his head is not just to keep him from pulling up with his head and pulling his arm out. It's so that when we flip back over, if this part is trapped like that, it's automatically shoving his arm up. I've blocked this whole part right there, so this is really easy to bar now, okay? So that's part of the whole idea. And so as soon as I come through and I catch that, his head is stuck. But you can also see that how bent his shoulder is. That whole tricep and shoulder is now stuck against my pelvis, my belt line, okay? Whether he wants it to or not. And then as I come over, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna try and get this foot on the mat, and then this foot is gonna cross the ankle, okay? Boom. Okay? If your legs are a little too short or he's too big, a lot of times when I roll with heavy weights, I try and do this and my feet are still way up here because their chests are bigger. Their chests are bigger. So if you can't, you just bring the foot that's on his head down to the mat and then bring it in. No matter what, nobody's head is too big that you can't do that.
See what he's doing, everybody? This is a key thing that it will help you. These are just small points that make the big thing happen. Is he's trapping the head, and look at how he's really isolating the shoulder, but also his hips are right here close, where there's the upper arm. I'm ready to bar. I'm ready to bar it. Can everybody see how close he is here? And you come around and look at how those hips are right under him.
So his shoulder is like right there.
There's no wiggle room for the bottom guy. That's what we're saying here. You don't want, his defense is to turn in and escape. This prevents him from doing that from the get-go. We don't want him to get out. I want to arm lock him. So that's why he's doing it this way.
So again, if your legs are long enough, you're gonna do basically the same thing. You're gonna cross them and pull them in tight and then trap your knees together. If you can't get that because your feet are up here, unwind, bring his head in, and then cut this one across on the other shoulder, okay? Hug your upper arms. That way when you slide back, it's going to the end of his arm. What I'm seeing a lot is guys are going like down here, where they're keeping their arms like this. And what you don't want is any sort of space in between the arm and your body, because then when I sit back, it's all arm versus arm. Yeah, I've got two hands, but who knows, he might be on some horse tranquilizers or something and he can curl my whole body weight, okay? I don't ever want to make this a tug-of-war battle. I want my entire back and legs against one of his arms.
See how Derek's using his whole body to lever and arch his arm out and crank it? That's what he wants. And that's just good biomechanics. And that's what you want to use against him. And this is why this really works. That's why Juji Gatame is so darn effective. All these little points we're trying to show you guys, these are the science of it. You know, and how well you apply it is the art of it. Okay? So
and likewise, any of the other moves that we have to flow from here, like if he stacks me and I want to head roll from there, or if he stacks me and I want to go out the back door, I have to have good control of his elbow the whole way through. So if I don't have good control of that, there isn't any sort of way that once we come through here, okay, go ahead and like pop up and stack. Okay, then I'm going to come out the back door with that arm because I didn't have a hold of it from the get-go. Okay, make sense?